Hello and welcome to episode 208 of the 77 Club. Harry, start with socials.
At 77 Club Podcast on Twitter. Facebook, Instagram is the Wolves 77 Club. YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. Please subscribe and tell a friend.
I just realised how bad the room that I'm in looks. Can you see the mattress there? Look, that's new from last. That's new from last week. That's completely normal. Jack Williams is here.
Hi everybody.
And Dan Bayliss.
Hello everyone.
Harry started Premier League action against Brighton. I don't think we were expecting very much from the game, and we didn't get much from it, to be honest. I think actually you called pretty much, I think, the team spot on Twitter in midweek. You weren't far off.
Guedes.
There's only one, because you're getting pelters for Wang starting up front.
Yeah, I need to say. Well, I was getting slated as well because obviously I said can't start Guedes. He's been out of form, bad attitude, and he obviously puts that goal away, doesn't he? Yeah. But yeah, I think my memory from the game, Sam, is sitting next to you and about 5 minutes in, going, "These are good."
Yeah, they were.
And, they were like they're sharp and they Brighton. I think we expected them to be on the front foot a lot, but I thought we counter-attacked quite well. So after going behind, to get back into it like we did and eventually take the lead was very promising, but I'm sure we're going to get onto it. A certain right back on the day didn't have his best of games, so I'll leave that to someone else to talk about.
I feel like I normally go to chat, but I think I'm going to go to our wing-back correspondent, Dan Bayliss, and just to get the lowdown on what happened there.
I've always been told be humble in victory.
And you've never delivered on that ever, I don't think.
I've never won anything.
I've never known it. You come second in the Biggest Loser competition.
No, jokes aside, they looked good. They did look good, Brian.
They did, yeah.
I don't think I'd ever say that, but clearly the Potter ball that it's taken them 4 years to create has come to fruition after he's gone. They're not a bad team. I thought we got lucky to get what we got. Guedes just seemed to bounce off him and go in. I don't know whether anyone else saw that. Maybe it was a good finish.
I was shocked we scored in front of the North Bank, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's a good ball by Babacar as well, wasn't it? I thought he really won the build-up.
And I thought he's starting to play a lot better. He's had a couple of decent games, so that's a positive, isn't it?
Couldn't get any worse, could he? Really?
I don't know, we'll talk about the red card as we go, but I just thought we haven't got that knack of just holding on, or when we get a bit of luck, we don't seem to get the composure to go with it. It's just, I've been saying it for weeks now, haven't we? It's just not going the way for Wolves, and God hope that the new manager can do something about it. I think it needs 3 or 4 more players in that side, to be honest.
Can I just say something? Sorry, Sam.
Yeah.
You literally had the opportunity just to absolutely annihilate Semedo then. You just let it slide. He literally was at fault for their equaliser, and he got sent off 5 minutes later.
I've said
criticism where it's due, I think.
I've said it enough times that there's no need for me to go on and on again, is there? I've proven my point.
No, but it's normally off the back of that not happening.
Yeah, usually has a good game when you say it's rubbish.
It's like you're doing the opposite thing to what you should here. This is when you should be going for him. Like the last 2 years is like it's.
I've gone for him a couple of times this year as well when he's done terrible things. This is only a continuation. It's not like it's come out the blue, and I know he's shit. I've known he's shit for a while, and it's suddenly being proven. He's lazy. He doesn't give a toss. He's here for a paycheck, and he's not pulling his weight in a side. So are a few others at the moment, or they aren't good enough. And that's evident. And there's no point me just harping on and on and on, because there's loads of Wolves players that aren't good enough at the moment. And that's why we're sat second bottom in the shit and about to potentially be bottom at Christmas, because we're playing top of the league next week or Saturday.
He cost us the game, didn't he, Semedo? Because we had to hang on for a whole
He cost us the game at Palace as well.
Yeah, he did. Can't argue.
I mean, just a nice heartfelt apology. And at the end of that, we'll let it slide, and Saturday we'll have a few beers and we'll just talk about how right I am. What was it, Brian? What was it Brian Clough said? I forgot the saying now. What was it Brian Clough said? We all sat down and we had me and the player sat down and we had a long conversation, and after that we decided I was right all along.
Correct. It's like having a word with the missus and then doing what she wants. Jack, I'll bring you in on that point though. He did ruin any chance that we had. When you look at the stats after the game, 71% possession for Brighton. It's not to be honest, it probably wouldn't be much different from that if we had 11 men on the pitch, because they pinged it around. Probably the best that I've seen for a very long time at Molineux.
Yeah, but the problem was, I think, as soon as he got sent off and going in 2-2 at half time, you just knew it was a matter of time until they got the winner, really, particularly after the way that they moved the ball and played in the first half. I think really in that game, we were lucky to go in front, to be honest. I thought when we went 2-1 up, we were much the second best side. Fair play for us to get him back into it. I know we got a bit of luck with the penalty and the handball probably, but VAR did bring it back. That was a weird one, actually, because it's one of those where it wasn't quite, even looking at VAR, I wasn't 100% sure it definitely hit his hand. I don't know if you guys right behind the goal could see it a bit better, but either way, like it just killed the game from us, because we were scrapping and we were doing well. At least we'd scored a couple of goals and we were staying with the pace, and then to go down to 10 men just before half time, just to be honest, killed the game as a spectacle. And if anything, I think we've got to give a bit of credit to the team in the second half, because they stayed in the game a lot longer than I thought they were going to. I thought it was going to end up 4-2 or 5-2 or something like that, to be brutally honest, and we actually did show a little bit of fight there, but against a really good footballing team, to have to do the second half against 10 men when really we've been ripped apart in the first half anyway. That Japanese lad on the wing had Semedo on toast, didn't he?
Yeah,
and I suppose the only question is, what did you think about the red card? Was it a straight red? Because
I don't think it was.
I
didn't think it was at the time. We was in the believe it or not, Jack, we was in the concourse.
Could you believe it? Can you believe that?
Obviously, it was very clumsy, but for me, like, they do say, don't they, did he stop a goal scoring opportunity? I guess he did, but it was so wide and like on the edge of the box to the left.
The bloke's not going in on goal from there.
No, I thought it was a booking, but obviously it was a red, because did they check it on VAR as well?
Yeah.
They checked it on VAR.
Only because he gave the red.
Yeah, I don't think it would have necessarily got given if he's just given a yellow card. But also, I think watching it back, some people said that he didn't necessarily just bring him down because he tripped and brought him down. But, by that point, but I thought my first reaction was yellow card, definitely.
I thought,
because it's just so far wide. I mean, he's got to do a lot to go in and score from there, hasn't he? But could you say it's a goal scoring opportunity? Well, yeah, lots of things are.
It just sums up VAR, doesn't it? Like, we've had 2 potential leg breaking tackles against our players this year that haven't been red cards.
Yeah.
And then it's a clumsy trip on the edge of the box, going nowhere. Give a red.
Yeah, I agree.
Did you think ours was a penalty? Sorry, I don't know if you just mentioned it then, Jack, but ours was quite a soft penalty as well, wasn't it?
I didn't think it was at the time, and then this one VAR look back. I mean, it's one of those where watching it back on VAR, you kind of always watch, even in slow mo, you watch the movement of the ball to see if it's had a touch. And I couldn't clearly see that it had, but I think it's one of those where you'd have to be right on top of it to actually see if it hit his hand or not. But Ponus was convinced, wasn't he? So
didn't Gary Lineker go nuts about it?
He went nuts.
I didn't see much today, but
the thing is, there was nothing that suggested it to you or me, Harry. Was there at the time? We were just waiting for a corner, and we couldn't believe we got a corner. So the fact we got a penalty out of it. And as soon as we went over to the monitor, we said it time and time again that you just know it's going to be given because someone said something in his ear and he's got to go through the whole procedure. But yeah, I thought it was a soft penalty, and I didn't think it was a red card, to be honest. I don't think it was denying a goal scoring opportunity for me, anyway. But yeah, what do you think of substitutions, Harry? I mean, I think Traore probably could have done with coming on a little bit earlier and giving them some problems, which he always does.
Yeah, but it's always tough, isn't it, when you're hanging on? And I just think about just the game in general. We did better than I thought we were going to do, to be honest. I know Brighton did batter us, and as you mentioned, they passed the ball around well, and the sending off did cost us. But our counter-attacking play was really promising, and we actually took our chances. I know one was a penalty, but good from Guedes. But on the subs, mate, yeah, it's a tough one. You're hanging on. And we just said, didn't we, to each other watching it, they're going to score. You could feel it coming. You could feel it. Like, it was just a matter of if, not when, really. But on another day, as we've said, if it was just a yellow for Semedo, saying that he'd have probably got a second yellow second half the way he was playing, we could have got a point out of that game, and we really needed a point, didn't we? Especially with Arsenal coming up.
Let's have a look at the attitude of the team, Jack, because I think one thing I have noticed under Steve Davis, aside from obviously the results haven't gone our way at all, there has been a little bit more character showed from the team that I think we were seeing under the latter days of Bruno.
Yeah, maybe. There's been a little bit of fight at pushes. Again, not been helped by the injuries going on. It's obviously a difficult situation to be in with an incoming manager and just losing players all the time. And you can tell by the way he's brought in the kids is kind of obviously the setup he's used to, and he wants to try and give them a chance probably to propel themselves into the first team before the new manager comes in. But yeah, you could argue there's been a bit of fight there. I think I want to give a shout out to Guedes actually, because I think he played really well. And he responded, particularly after the question marks away at Brentford. And I think one of us said last week he went straight down the tunnel, didn't he? And had a bit of a bad attitude after he came on late and went straight off. And to be honest, he responded to the critics in exactly the right way at the game at the weekend. Obviously, I know we didn't get anything from it in the end, but he was dangerous. He did a run, he took his chance, and he played well. So fair play to him, because he's had a lot of criticism lately. So if he can ignite a little bit of a spark or a bit more fighting like that, then yeah, fair play. But the problem is at the moment we're just coasting into back-to-back defeats before we change, and we're going to be bottom, if lucky, second bottom by the time we go into the World Cup break and bring the new manager in, and it's the worst position we can be in. But they should be showing a bit of fight, really. I know the confidence is low and the injuries aren't helping, but there's still quality out there, and we should be putting in a bit of fight and a bit of passion for the fans, even under what is difficult circumstances.
How much of a missed opportunity was it, Dan, do you reckon? Because there was a chance to take something from that game.
Yeah, there was, but it's a lot more than that. What was the stat? Someone will know it. The last time a Wolves striker scored a goal in the Premier League.
It's a long time ago.
Don't know.
Did one of you say Southampton when Raul scored?
I think you said that, Dan. Didn't you?
Yeah, I don't know the exact. That's what my guess was.
It's been a while, not this season. How do we know that?
And we talk about luck and passion and trying and all these things and tactics. What fucking chance have you got of staying in the Premier League if you haven't got someone to score your goals?
Yeah.
Well, one thing. Sorry, I said one thing that really helps with this would help with this stat. If your one striker wasn't in Belgium, the other one wasn't on a beach in Mexico, they'd have more chance of scoring there, wouldn't they? So it's like we haven't had a striker score in a year, but we haven't got any strikers. So what? Yeah. It's just a ridiculous situation.
Well, it just sums up Wolves that we bought one that had an ACL problem, and they played him and he did his ACL.
Yeah.
Then we panicked.
One who gets arrested for GBH every week, and Costa as well. So we end up where we're strikers.
That's the only thing that will save us. Unless they go, it doesn't matter. I don't care about what you're saying about whether they're trying or passion or anything like this. Fair enough. You can take the ones that aren't trying and get them out of the team and put in the ones that are. But unless Fosun go in their pocket now and buy a striker that's going to score at least 10, if not 15 goals before the end of the season, you've had it.
In Fosun's defence, though, they did try and do that. They tried to do it, and he did his ACL in the first.
I'm sorry. When you get a bloke in for a medical and it shows records and potentially a tear on their ACL,
I agree.
Who takes that gamble when you're in the shit?
I agree.
I think they took the gamble because they're in the shit. I think because
like buying a house and one wall's falling down, and you go, "Oh yeah, we'll live in."
And like Jack pointed out, though, in their defence, Raul was meant to start that game, and he got pulled out in the warm up, and then they put Sasa in. He was meant to be on the bench, so. One of them, isn't it?
Don't care.
No, fair play. I mean, I really want to talk about Raul next, but we should probably do it in chronological order.
Do Leeds first.
Talk about Leeds. Harry, lots of youngsters got their chance. Connor Ronan got a start. Hodge got a start. It was good to see them in the side. I mean, Johnny came back into the side after a little breakaway as well. Obviously, ended up coming off injured. We don't know how serious that is yet, but how important was that win against Leeds in the Carabao Cup?
Yeah, and the goalkeeper's that, wasn't it? Sarkic was in goal.
Sarkic, yeah.
Well, I'll be honest, it's not a game I'd rewatch because it was very painful to watch at times. One of those boring games of football. It's a bit like the Forest game, like a boring 1-0 win, but you'll take it. But yeah, some decent performances there. Ronan stood out for me. I thought he looked really good, and I know Hodge had a bit more of a chance in him, hasn't he, this season? But I thought Ronan was good. Hodge was good too. Johnny, obviously, his injury did okay, but we are playing a Leeds side. Not to put a dampener on it, because we did win, and it was an important win for morale, I guess. But Leeds made a lot of changes. So it's not.
I thought the kid that came back, the kid that came on with sort of 10 minutes, 15 minutes to go, looked sharp. Fair enough, as you say, he was playing against a second string.
Oh, yeah, someone pronounce his name again, the right back?
Lembasika.
Yeah, he looks sharp. Man, he might start Saturday. he might start like Johnny and
Yeah.
Eight Nori apparently. Well, I thought.
Did you not watch it?
I didn't think it was a particularly great game. Oh, I did watch it. I thought Leeds came at us exactly how Leeds do, and because we managed to see it out, we got the better of them. But it wasn't a very entertaining game of football.
Yeah, Aït-Nouri was good. We've got, I mean,
Yeah,
our left
that's what I was just
back,
about to say.
roles, like we're spoiled there now. Bueno and Aït-Nouri both looking really good. So, but I still think Bueno should keep his place. I don't know what you lot think.
I don't think he's done anything to mean that he shouldn't be in the side. I think he's been a shining light, hasn't he, this season so far, and also to bring him through the lower age groups as well proves that someone's doing something right. Ironically, it would be Steve Davis who's not getting results on the pitch in the Premier League, but. Jack, getting through to the last 16 is probably the main thing, isn't it? And were there any standout performances or comments?
I suppose my comment really is it was a difficult game for us as fans to get up for, I think, really. But I think the one positive is that it seemed to actually mean a lot to the players when they did score. Because it was a difficult game. I think really Leeds should have been in front in the first 5 minutes. They absolutely battered us, and the keeper did really well to keep us into it. So it's nice that we've had a few fringe players come in, and they actually seem to really care. I think we grew into the game with a better team second half, and we scored a good goal. Really, it was nice for New Traoré to get his first goal. He seemed to really enjoy his celebration, and hopefully it's something for him to build on because he's done well lately. Apart from probably the first half at Brentford where he was a bit off the pace. But it was nice that it just it did seem to actually mean something. There was a bit of passion there, and really hopefully those sparked the fans on a bit because it was a bit of a flat game, but in the end at least the results turned out to be favourable. And like you say, I know it was against sort of Leeds' second string where they made 10 changes or whatever, but it's nice to get through, and our name's in the hat. A fair few big teams have gone out, and all you can really do is hand it over because it'll be Lopetegui's first game in charge, will it? Officially,
yeah. Well, 19th December, I think it is.
I think it's the first game before after the World Cup. Yeah, I think it's the 20th of December.
Yeah, it's really early,
or the week of that.
2 days after the World Cup final, isn't it?
Can't wait to battle MK Dons.
At time of recording, obviously, by the time this goes out, the draw would have been made. So I think it's after we've finished this podcast.
10 o'clock tonight. Yeah.
So we're away at Man City and we'll be out. But no, it's nice to actually, it seems like a bit of a fair play to the players because they showed a bit of character, really, even though it was a tough watch. I'll be honest, I watched it on a stream and I was getting distracted by I'm a Celebrity the time we scored because I was had two things on at once, and I was getting distracted by Matt Hancock doing a bush to a trial, and but it was it was nice to see that they didn't lose focus in the same way that I did.
Is there a trip to Wembley on the cards, Dan?
Shopping centre to watch a gig. Maybe the boxing.
You never know.
You never know.
Go on, yes or no? Yes or no? That's true. He's got a residency at the O2, actually.
Yeah.
It'd be just like Wolves, though, in a season where we don't want to get to a final because we need to survive, that we'll just go on like a run where we just get there. We'll keep winning 1-0.
We'll do a Birmingham City and win the League Cup
and go down
and play in Europe.
I think I'd take that as well. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, of course you would.
Well, actually, not relegation.
Away on the Tuesday and
not relegation. No way.
It's not relegation, but it's the best way. It's our best chance to get into Europe this season. Put it that way.
Agree.
So I'd happily take 17th than that. But
that's true.
The subs made the difference as well, didn't they? Pedence setting up Babacar. They came on, didn't they? Quite late.
Good finish.
Right, really good finish. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant
goal.
finish.
Good goal.
It was weird seeing a goal go in that end of the pitch.
He's starting to grow into his role a little bit. I know he's a younger lad, but last 2 games I thought he's looked good. So hopefully just him, Neves, and playing Nunes a little bit deeper. Hopefully.
He reminds me a little bit of Chiquinho, that leggy, bit erratic vibe.
But obviously different players.
Yeah, a bit raw. Yeah, no, I think so. Yeah. I want to talk about Raul Jimenez. I don't know how I felt about seeing him training with Mexico when we haven't got a striker and we're struggling for goals. I know it split the fan base quite a lot. People saying 31, 32 years old, potentially his last World Cup. I mean, Harry, I personally couldn't give a shit whether it was last World Cup. We need him and we pay his wages.
Yeah, well, it's funny we're talking about Leeds. I think as the game was going on, Mexico put out that team sheet of him on the bench, and obviously a lot of Wolves fans started losing their shit, understandably. But I think they pretty quickly confirmed he was just on the bench, so he felt like he was involved and he didn't have like a kit on. But it's not looking good, is it? Really, the whole situation has been bizarre. Yeah. I said to you on WhatsApp earlier, he never posts anything about Wolves anymore, like on his social media. It's all about Mexico and his sponsors. And it feels like the relationship between him and the fans is getting fractured.
But that said, he hasn't done a lot with Wolves. He's been in rehab. It's not really easy for him to get involved.
But Don't you think it's a bit disrespectful though? After all, we stood
No,
by
I
him all
do.
through this terrible injury, and then he's just flying off to Mexico for his rehab. And like you say, he's on really good money at Wolves. For him to go away and not be in and around the squad for his rehab, I don't think it's very good. And just to fly in and then go off to Mexico and do all that, fair enough. They need to come out and say exactly why they're doing that. Is it for his mental health, which are one of the reasons I've heard, but the Wolves fans are getting really irritated with it. And if you believe what you're reading, he will be involved. He will get onto the pitch in their first game for the World Cup, apparently. Like, he'll be ready.
Jack, after the game, Steve Davis said it wasn't a good look, and he's been pretty diplomatic through his tenure as interim manager. He hasn't really put a foot out of place or spoken out of turn or said what he probably most likely thinks. Do you think that sheds a little bit of light on the situation that, he has said it's disappointing, it's not a good look?
I think with Steve Davis, he's been quite honest as well, hasn't he? Really, I kind of believe what he's saying. I know he can't obviously say everything that he obviously wants to, but he can sort of read between the lines sometimes. And it's a bit weird, but I kind of saw this coming. It's just a very weird situation. I honestly think that what's going to happen is he's not going to play for us for months, and then he will either start or come on in Mexico's first game. I think that's just what's going to happen, and then there'll be uproar about it. But I think from his point of view, if you want to get inside his head now, obviously he's had his injury troubles in the last few years. This is realistically going to be his last World Cup because of his age. He's probably just thinking, I want to play in this World Cup, and that's all I'm focused on right now. And I'm not going back and getting involved in this shit show where every other week a striker gets injured or a winger gets injured.
It wouldn't surprise
or whatever's going on.
If he either retires or goes back to Mexico straight after the World Cup. Retiring after the World Cup wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Like, he doesn't seem to be enjoying it, does he? And he hasn't really done much. Maybe. I can't see him playing in a Wolves shirt again.
That's a good shout. I hadn't even thought of that.
Well, how long's left on his contract, though? Because he's not going to turn that down. I don't know how long his contract is.
He's been here for 4 years. This summer just gone.
I think
ironically, the last World Cup, wasn't it, when all the Wolves fans were writing him off because he came on for Mexico, didn't he? I think
he did, yeah.
If he didn't get injured, if he didn't have that head injury, I think he'd have left us anyway, because he was flying, wasn't he, up until that injury, to be fair to him.
Yeah.
And,
but
so
were we.
We were, yeah. But you say about his future as well, but we saw earlier as well, he is flying back, isn't he, on Friday?
Well, there's unconfirmed reports at time recording that he's going to come back having met up with the Mexico team, and he's been training and everything else that comes with getting ready for the World Cup to come back and meet Lopetegui and then fly out again. I mean, Jackie, mate, you asked the question of, is this because shit has hit the fan and people aren't happy? It seems a complete waste of time to me.
It seems to make no sense at all. If anything, I think it's probably a knee-jerk reaction to Wolves going, hang on, why the hell is he on the bench for Mexico? He should be back here. So now he's like, oh yeah, I'll come back for a bit before I go. But it just seems like that to me, really. It's like, oh shit, okay, I better go and show my face, sort of thing. But what's the point? The World Cup starts in a week and a bit. Then it makes no sense for him to come back, especially if he doesn't want to play.
On Dan's point, and Dan, you've said this a lot, there's no sentiment in football, and I would tend to agree with that now, in that I don't think I would want him back.
No,
I just don't think. I don't think he would be a good influence. For somebody, with all these young kids coming through, your Hugo Buenos or whatever, that starting to want to play for the side. You've got somebody who's gone away. They want to play for their national team, and then they've flown back in because it's gone against them. I don't think he's a good influence to have at all.
I've got a few things on it. So, one, I can't be pissed off with him. He's given us the greatest time any Wolves player. He scored us the goals that have got us into these unbelievable positions that we've been in. So I'm not annoyed with him. I can see his point of wanting to play in the World Cup. I get it. If he then goes on to retire imminently, he shouldn't play for Wolves again, really. Whether Wolves force the move or he goes. I mean, we did the right thing sticking by him when he got hurt. That is the right thing to do. He's rehabbed. He hasn't come back and been successful. I think we have to just say thank you very much for what you've done. You've been a fantastic servant to Wolves, and let him go. But I get it. Who wouldn't want to go to a World Cup at 30? He's the same age as us. He's the same age as all of us. So,
yeah, slightly fitter. Yeah. Talk
for yourself.
You've been working on a chassis, haven't
you? I get it. I do get it. It doesn't look good, and maybe they should have done it in a statement or something. But
So you don't necessarily blame him. You
You
blame Mexico and the way Wolves and Mexico dealt with it, basically.
yeah.
But look, what about his social media activity, Bayliss? He don't post Wolves at all. Not, oh, well done, lads, for your winning
What's he
against
done?
Forest, for example.
He's been in the gym. He hasn't played a lot of football, has he?
But no, I mean, look, you just got to support the club you play for, who pay your wages. You know what I mean?
No, I
Post
get-
a bit
yeah.
like a, you know.
I don't know. I wouldn't try and form opinions scrolling through Twitter.
Well, you've done that before with Doris DeVries, so look,
We're all guilty of
And
it.
I've learnt my lesson.
He's under contract until 2024, by the way.
there you go. Still
Selling to
good
Club
start.
America in January. Goodbye.
Yeah,
Thanks
yeah.
for
I think I work for everyone, to be honest. Right, okay. So slightly dour note. However, Lopetegui's backroom staff have been announced. So that's nice. Harry, there's a little bit of rumour going around. I know when before Lopetegui joined and all that sort of stuff, saying that the club were being a little bit forceful on who could come in and who couldn't as backroom staff. Do you think it's quite a positive sign that he looks like he's being able to bring in his own people?
Yeah, and I think we said, didn't we? I think it wasn't even confirmed, was it, when we last did a podcast? But finally confirmed. And yeah, I think they've announced 6, haven't they? One of them is is it technical director? I forget his name now, but
a technical
I think it's
advisor. I think.
Yeah, I think
so
it's
not
needed.
Not quite technical director, but on the same sort of level.
But yeah, 100%, it's needed, isn't it? Because I think obviously Jeff, Scott, and is it Hobbs, the other bloke? They'll still have their input, but maybe Jeff has just sat back, seen the outroar and backlash with how much they were like. You know, people were unhappy with Scott Sellers being so involved with the Steve Davis stuff. Bruno Lage didn't seem like he had full control of everything, did he either? So getting. I mean, this appointment, Lopetegui, it's a massive appointment for us, isn't it? Do you reckon it's the most high-profile manager we've ever had?
Puppet, whereas we've now got a respected football manager.
Seriously, like good pedigree in it. Like he's got a good record, and some of the teams
in terms of
national team as well. Like
in terms of pedigree, I would say probably the one that had the most pedigree last time they joined was Graham Taylor. Yeah. I would say in terms of pedigree, didn't work.
And the Sun called him a turnip.
Yeah, didn't work. Yeah.
Back to the 90s.
Well, yeah. But yeah, I completely agree. I think it's a huge.
I hope he does better than Graham Taylor, by the way.
Did you all see that Michael Beale secretly took the Wolves job?
Is there a
I
joke
don't know about
that?
They've had a mayor, haven't they?
He's taken 1 point in his last 4 games.
They've been rubbish, haven't they? Yeah, but apparently he came and did like 2 presentations as well. So I think he was keen at one point. It wasn't just a case of he snubbed us. I think there were a couple of interviews. So it wasn't just a case of I'm staying with QPR, but he did come and try and pitch himself for it. So I think there's a bit more probably went on with that one than we'll ever know, really, to be honest. But they've nosedived since then, haven't they? So
the Michael Beale situation reminds me of that meme. Do you know, like when that meme that used to be with that lad and he's in a club whispering into a girl's ear? You can imagine him going, "Yeah, I turned them down. Premier League club, Wolves. They were begging for me. But I stayed loyal to QPR. Haven't won in 4 though, so." Something like that, yeah. Don't go
Oh dear, yeah. Daniel Lopetegui is a performance analyst in all of that, so
his brother or something.
Yeah. So I think he's been at MK Dons previously. From what I understand, he knows what he's doing. I don't think he's there on merit.
Didn't Bruno bring in his brother as well? Just a flashback. He did, didn't he?
Who, Little and Large? All right, okay.
No, not biting.
No, having that. Nope. Let's have a look at the England squad that's been announced this morning. Unless, Harry, you wanted to add something to that, sorry.
Yeah, so I just want to say, I think it's really good for Lopetegui as well that we've got this World Cup break for him to settle in and sort everything out, because how many players are we going to have go? 4?
Yeah, all the best ones.
So I think this has been the blessing in disguise, this World Cup for us this year.
I mean, the thing is that when he comes in, the only way is up, isn't it? Like, if we get relegated, can you really blame him? Like, he's taken over with bottom, and so I can't see us getting anything on Saturday. So
will he be?
He's going to be there, though. I think he's going to be there.
I think he'll be in the stand apparently, with his abacus.
Harry, who would your starting 11? Like, what would your starting 11 be for that Arsenal game?
Well, I think it's going to be very similar to the starting 11 against Brighton, isn't it? The right back situation for me is the one. Is Johnny going to be fit enough? If not, is he going to put Semedo in after his howler? Because it was a 1 game ban, wasn't it? No, he got the. served his game ban for Leeds, hasn't he?
Oh, was that in against Leeds?
Yeah.
Why
It
is
was
it
a
only
one-game
one-game
ban. Because it was a clumsy. It weren't like an on-purpose like headbutt, was it? Like Costa's. That's the rules, isn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't a
was an
karate kick
accidental
like Nathan
red, so-
Collins.
Yeah. So it's a one-game ban, and he served it against Leeds, so he is available. But
Is it not a league ban?
no, because look at Costa.
No,
Costa's one of
Costa's-
Costa's games was for the League Cup as well.
Good time.
You look it up. I could be wrong, but someone in the comments might be able to.
No, I think you're right, Harry. Yeah, so Costa will be back for the first game after the break. His ban will be served by then, so we hopefully can start with a pretty much.
So you can go and nut
squad
Connor
if everyone's
Cody at
fit.
everything.
So Semedo will start right back, when he unfortunately against Arsenal.
I think we ain't got much choice, Harry. To be honest,
Johnny's injured,
the way it's going.
Who starts up front?
Huang again, is it? It's got to be. It's got to be, isn't it?
I mean, probably the same three that started against Brighton. Really,
Same 11, isn't it?
we scored 2 goals. Let's not overlook
That's
that.
true.
That's good for us.
In the same game.
On the
win
counter
0-0.
attack as well.
In the same half, actually.
But Arsenal are like, because they're fighting off City and they're flying, I just fear the worst. Like, I just can't.
Yeah.
They have
can't
got to
see
do
it.
an Arsenal at some point. I don't think it'll be Saturday, but at some point Arsenal will do an Arsenal
Spurs.
implode and lose 4 on the bounce or something daft.
But if we defend in any way like we did against Leicester, for example, it could get really embarrassing. They will absolutely tear us a new one. I just can't see anything but heavy defeat, unfortunately.
I was going to do my starting 11.
Oh, go on then. Sorry.
Saar and Saric.
Both of them.
What? Both.
Yeah.
Oh,
we need
Who's Saric? Who's Saric?
Sharkic.
Doris de Vries.
Roger
well.
Johnson,
We have-
centre back.
We have 3 goalkeepers.
Who's Sorensen? Was that? Who was it?
Yeah.
Saric. Same thing.
To be fair,
genuinely
though, I'd say,
out.
but by the time we all get there, though, given it's a 7:45 kickoff, we'll be seeing 2 keepers in our goal anyway. So I won't worry about it.
Oh,
I might, if we're losing 5-0, I might run on and do what them protesters did. I might bike chain my neck to the post so we don't concede any more goals.
To be fair,
What was that
drink
oil
oil.
protest?
neck oil. Score prediction, Jack.
Score prediction. We're going to lose 3-0.
3-0. Harry?
Yeah.
6-0 Arsenal.
Bloody hell. It's possible. Bayliss?
that is bizarre. I was going to say 6-0 Arsenal.
Wow, 2 6-0s in there.
Sam, be positive. Come on, because we're going.
I think we'll shit out it 2-1. I really do.
Oh, nice.
I had a feeling against Brighton and Semedo screwed it up. Let's have a look at your latest betting odds and ticket news, please.
There is obviously quite a bit of difference in the betting odds. Depending on
We
whether
call
you
that
favour
value.
Arsenal or Wolves.
Value.
Just to give you an idea, I did a couple of different bet builders on either side. So the first one, over or under 2.5 goals. So over 2.5 goals. Both teams to score no. Saka to score in 90 minutes. 4-0 Arsenal. Right?
Hang on. Right.
So all 4 of those things have to come in, including a 4-0 result. What do you think the odd is?
Both teams score. So 80-1.
It's 37-1.
That is low.
Whereas under 2.5 goals, Neves to score in 90 minutes, and Arsenal to be winning at half time, 100-1.
Is that possible?
Yeah, 2-1 Wolves.
Under 2.5 goals.
That's sorry. Oh my god! That's how quickly
So
I
it
did
just
this.
shows that I listen. I
It's gotta be-
listen.
How is that actually possible?
Well, no,
Oh yeah,
it's
Arsenal
not, is it?
1-1 draw. It would be.
When was the last time one of these bet builders or any bet we've
It
read
would
out
be.
won?
It is possible. 1-1 draw. Neves to score in the second half is what it
I
would
thought
be.
you said someone to win.
No. I did a couple of scorecasts just to have a look at it, but it's just ridiculous. Like
Terrible.
it's so.
Oh, God, what's go on? What's half-time Arsenal, full-time Wolves? Let's go on.
I haven't done that
80 to
one.
1.
What I did,
one.
there's only one of, there's like nothing of value. Like it's either absolutely pie in the sky or anything sensible is tiny, tiny odds. The only one they boosted is Martinelli to score first, Arsenal to win 3-1, 100-1. Pedence to assist Neves and Neves to assist Pedence, 250-1. Sarr to make
header, is it?
8 or more saves is 10-1, which isn't actually
8?
that bad.
God.
I mean, he's going to be busy, isn't he? Do you want me to have a look at the half-time, full-time? Just chat.
It's going to be about 80 to 1,
That'd
isn't
be
it, really?
massive. Yeah,
Like,
that'd be massive.
you know.
Odds.
I think it'll be the longest it's been this season. Definitely.
My 4-1 Wolves is going to be over 200, I think. Look at that comment, Bayless. You'll like that one.
Who says what are the odds on Semedo defending a cross?
Quite high.
No. Only 40 to 1 for Arsenal halftime, Wolves full.
That's rubbish.
That's
Which unnamed bookmaker is that with? Because that's
Sky
bad
Bet.
value.
It's Sky
Bet.
Jack has got your ticket news.
For what games? Really?
Any coming up?
Like
World Cup
Arsenal.
in Qatar.
well, actually, Arsenal is on general sale, and there's still a few tickets left. A few singles knocking
top
about.
of the
really.
league. Top of the league at Molineux, quarter to 8 on a Saturday night, and there are tickets left.
It's 50 quid a
Close
ticket,
shop.
though, isn't it? Let's be honest. 50
Close
quid a
shop
ticket
FC.
on the TV.
Wow, that's the price of football.
Saturday. I agree. It should be sold out, really, but given the fact that how bad it's been and the prices, you can kind of maybe understand it a little bit. But especially when it's the last game before the World Cup, you thought at least pack the place out. And it will look full. There's just a few tickets knocking around on general sale. But
in saying that, though, I thought the attendance for the Leeds game, although us four didn't go, so
It was right.
It looked good, didn't it? I know it was quite pricey, the tickets. Was it 20 quid if you didn't pre-book, 18 quid for your season ticket seat? And I was quite surprised at the attendance, I must admit. And obviously Leeds are good away fans. So.
All the idiots kicking off when they couldn't get a ticket for Turin and, just because it's going badly. Well, I have no sympathy. Right, England squad has been announced today. Mixed bag, to be honest. Connor Cody is in it, so the move to Everton clearly worked out. I think if he'd have stayed here, then it definitely wouldn't have. Trent goes, Cody, Dyer, Maguire, Luke Shaw, Stones, Trippier, Kyle Walker, Ben White's in there too. Let's have a look at that defence first, Harry. I thought Tamori should have been an absolute nail on to go. He isn't. They're all 29, 28 years old, that back line. They're not blooding any youngsters. I think he's missing a trick here, isn't he?
Yeah, he should be in, and he should get rid of Maguire. Well, he hasn't been playing for United, has he? And he made that horrendous mistake against Germany. And what was that, in the Nations League? Again, it's always very subjective, these squads, and there's always a few players people get angry with for being in there. And for me, in defence, you're reading that out. I just can't believe Maguire's in there. But in his defence, he has never let England down, apart from that Germany game, as I just mentioned. But in major tournaments, Maguire usually is pretty decent. But on form, he should be nowhere near it.
Let's go through the midfield. We'll give Jack the midfield. Bellingham, Gallagher, Henderson, Mount, Calvin Phillips is in there, and Declan Rice.
Gallagher?
Doesn't seem like many midfielders, does it really? Like, I know
Calvin Phillips has played about
a couple of the
games
forwards
since
can drop back.
But he plays for Man City now, doesn't he? That's why.
That's true.
So, he gets picked straight away. I mean, Mount maybe question marks, but it wasn't as bad on a whole, I don't think, as people thought it was going to be. Because I think Maddison was the one everyone was talking about that he was going to miss out on. I know he's probably not classed as the midfielder there, but whatever. But he made it, which I think is, fair enough because they'd have an uproar otherwise. But now people will just be whinging that he hasn't made the starting lineup.
We're going to play a fucking back five, aren't we?
Yeah.
You just know it's going to happen.
Cody in the middle.
Against Iran as well. Back five against Iran.
Maybe against Iran. Cody might play against Iran.
Bayliss, I'll give you the strikers. Foden, Grealish, Kane, Maddison, Rashford, Saka, Sterling, Callum Wilson.
Yeah,
Abraham
Kane, everything goes through Kane. I would have picked Tony over.
Not Abraham, Tony.
I'd have picked Tony.
I'd have picked Tony over either Wilson or Sterling. Sterling hasn't done a lot this year.
He's done absolutely nothing, has he? When you look at the Man City videos of the chances that he missed when De Bruyne is just pinging it around and setting him up and stuff, and obviously he hasn't got that at Chelsea anymore, and he's got no form, and it just shows that he's maybe not as effective as you think he was.
It proves the point I've made in the past that if Jack played up front for Man City, he'd get a couple.
I don't believe you.
I disagree too.
Yeah. He was never picking Tony though, because he picked him the other week, whenever it was, and he didn't even play
Italy and Germany.
Didn't play.
He's never going to pick him for this.
I do think with these World Cup things, taking a couple of players that are just on form can change games. When you're scoring goals, aren't you?
Yeah.
Who's in form there? Is it Callum Wilson? You probably say is in form.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yes.
I think Grealish, people who are in it, Grealish playing a little bit better for Manchester City. Maddison definitely. Bellingham for Borussia Dortmund's been great. Ben White for Arsenal, yes, you'd have to agree.
I would have taken the young guy at Leicester,
James just
because the wing backs, we're playing with 5, is the hardest position to play in tournament play because you've got to play so many games. We know that Walker hasn't played a lot of football. Trent's form's been up and down according to Liverpool fans. Shaw's been getting slammed by Man United fans, I know. So why not take a backup? Why not have another option there where it's really important? You need the fittest players. You've got some that haven't played a lot of football.
Do you think Ward-Prowse should be in there?
Well, I couldn't believe Gallagher got picked. I didn't expect it.
I think he's a good player.
Really? He's a good player, don't get me wrong, but he just come out of nowhere for me, that one. I was like, whoa. Ward-Prowse, you don't fancy him, does he? Southgate. No. You don't fancy him.
Do you know that Maddison scored more free kicks than Ward-Prowse?
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Did not know that. No.
The thing is, Maddison's going, but he probably won't get a game.
I hate Maddison, but he's a bloody good player.
He's a quality player. Well, his stats don't lie today. He's top of everything. Like, he's flying in the stats department, and he obviously say his goal against us was good, wasn't it?
Might make a star of himself. I mean, I think England's defence is what's going to let them down, if anything, and that they need to pick the most attacking team possible to score more than their opposition.
I agree. I mean,
that's an obvious statement, but you know what I mean.
I know what you're saying. But the funny thing is, Wales, Wayne Hennessy is going away with Wales in the World Cup. And you think that's absolutely mental, and so is Joe Allen. Joe Allen has been picked for Wales. My God, is he still at Stoke?
Yeah, so where's he play? I was going to say, I have no idea.
Right. What league are they in now? Is it?
If you'd have told me he's retired, I'd have believed you. I thought he was finished a long time ago.
He's about 46.
Obviously, Bale's going, and he'd be his last one.
Yeah. Bale's going. Aaron Ramsey's there, so he's at Nice at the moment.
Did you hear the conversation the other day on the radio about a Great Britain football team to a World Cup?
What?
And that Scotland still wouldn't qualify.
Right, okay. Look, this is the last podcast. Harry made the point before we started recording that it's our last podcast before the World Cup. We have to do our predictions. I think we may have done something at the beginning, but Harry, who's going to win the World Cup?
Sorry to be boring. Tell you what, actually, I was going to say France, but I'm going to go Argentina.
Did you know there is a stat that if Messi gets to the final, the World Cup final will be his 1,000th game?
If he doesn't play PSG's last game.
If he doesn't play
if he gets rested, yeah, that's true. Yeah. What a stat.
Or rested for a game in the tournament.
Yeah.
Jack?
Italy. No, I'm joking. I don't know, really. I mean, I haven't really studied it as much as I usually do, just because of the circumstances.
You're not a virgin anymore?
No, I usually get excited by it, but I think the first time I looked at the groups was actually today. It's the first time I've actually, I know he's in England's group, obviously, but the first time I've actually had a quick look at it today is today. And I don't know. I mean, France is the obvious choice. Tournament football, Germans sometimes turn up, don't they? But Brazil, I'll go Brazil.
Is it Senegal? If we win our group, is it most likely we get Senegal?
Most likely,
last 16? Yeah. No, Mane's injured, isn't he? Is that true?
Yeah, he is.
I think I mentioned it on a podcast a couple of weeks ago.
You picked the European Championships winners, by the way.
Yes, and I also have 10 quid on Argentina that I put on over a year ago. That is still in my bets.
What odds, to win the World Cup were they?
Oh, quite big, like 18-1 or something. It was a mega odd, and I thought, gosh, good. I'll have a tenner on that.
Money bags.
Anyway, the Telegraph's got a really good pick your teams out the groups, who's going to finish first, second, and all that jobby. And I was having a sandwich. I was like, yeah, an interactive one.
Oh, lovely.
I was on a sandwich the other day, and I thought I'll have a play with this. And I was with a Danish colleague. I was with a Danish colleague whilst doing this, and he said, the Danes' record against France is fantastic. They hardly ever lose to France. So I'm going to say that France aren't even going to finish top of their group on some nutcase Danish blokes prediction, which means we avoid them going through, which means we'd have Denmark in the quarterfinals. And then most likely Belgium, I think it was Belgium in the semis. So I'm going to say we're going to go out in the semis to someone like that. Maybe even France coming the other way around. I can't remember how it looped up. But I think
against Denmark in the Euros.
Yeah. Well, I think it's coming home.
Really?
God, for God's sake, really? It hasn't even started yet.
We should be much more excited about it than we are.
Anybody know when the paper's going to have a good wall chart in it this week? Is it tomorrow, maybe Saturday, or will it be the Saturday?
1998.
Well, I don't know.
Fair. That's fair. No, I don't know. There's been no build-up whatsoever, and it literally week Sunday.
Actually, we're going to talk about the Portugal squad, because we've got some players going and some players not going. Actually,
yes.
Which probably affects us more than England.
never saw Nunes make Portugal's World Cup squad. No room
No
to
Guedes.
present Moutinho. No Guedes. No Jota, actually. Told you he was rubbish. He's also injured.
No Pedence. He's injured, isn't he? He's
So yeah, there's no
Jota's injured,
Semedo,
yeah.
no Podence, no Moutinho.
Yeah.
good for us, though.
I mean, yeah, maybe. But I suppose if you're picking on form, being really brutal, then Moutinho hasn't really done much, has he, this season?
I don't think Nunes has, to be honest.
Hit and miss. That's true. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
But they'll play him in his proper position. Portugal, they won't play him in like as a number 10.
Yeah, true.
Maybe Lopetegui can get the best out of him once he's back. Once Portugal got in the group stage, cross your fingers, get them all back, and then we'll finish top 4 this season.
Well, let's actually end on that very positive note from Harry. If you go in
I've
at
got
the
another World
weekend,
Cup.
then Christ, we're trying
No,
to wrap it up.
I won't. Go on, wrap it up.
No, go on, do it. Go on,
What
do
were
it,
you
Dan.
saying?
Go on.
No, I was going to discuss more about Qatar and obviously all the controversies about it. And did you see
Oh,
Ian Hislop
good.
got stuck into Gary Neville when he did Have I Got News for You?
Yes, it is, Andy. Yeah.
And the news has just come out. It's the only reason I was raising it is that, Denmark had like a pro-human rights shirt they wanted to wear.
Yeah, it has no badge on it. It was like faded the badge out or something, didn't it?
Yeah. What would the sensible decision to be in that situation?
Let them do
Ban
it.
it.
Obviously, FIFA have rejected it. Fucking bunch of morons. Why do we like this sport? It's literally a load of things we all enjoy, and it's ruined by a load of absolute idiots at the top of it.
Has
I
anyone
couldn't agree
seen
more.
that documentary you're on about last week, Harry?
Oh,
Is
Sepp
that-
Blatter
is
is the
that
Twitter, that one.
Yeah, it's out. It's out soon, or
It's got to be
haven't
soon.
watched
They
it
release
yet,
it.
but-
They're going to release it like the day before the World Cup, aren't they? Or something?
I did see an advert for it. I think it's coming out at some point very soon if it's not out already. Yeah.
Because he came out in the week, didn't he, and said that they shouldn't have given it to Qatar, which is very good after he spent all the money they gave him.
It's
Allegedly.
hilarious, isn't it?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I don't
Dodgy,
think
isn't
there's
that,
much
yeah.
in it. Right, okay. Well, look, on that note, somber note, we'll say goodbye to Harry Mansell.
Yeah, cheers everyone for listening. It feels like another pre-season coming up, doesn't it? Like we've
I'm pretty
gone
much.
Are we
for
definitely?
forever.
We're definitely not going to do one. If we beat Arsenal, might we
do a
pop on?
couple.
Like, but
I said
Do one
if
in
we beat
America when
Arsenal,
we
we'll go
beat the
live from the Premier Inn.
There's no point in us doing England podcast. No one's going to want to listen to that, are they?
No.
You got bloody
not even
5
me,
lives,
to be
right?
fair. No.
It's a goodbye from Jack Williams.
Bye, everybody. See
A
you
goodbye
Christmas.
from Daniel Bayliss.
It's coming home.
And it is a goodbye from me. Goodbye.